Hey guys, Tony George, DocSports.com. You know what time it is? Week 17 of the NFL, the NFL opening line report. Just my initial reactions to what's going to go down in Week 17. A lot of stuff going on over at DocSports.com. College basketball starts back up here Friday, Saturday, 11 and 2. The last three Saturdays, 11 and 2 in college basketball. Boom. NBA, decent run. 26 and 15 or something going in on Thursday when I'm taping this. These lines, by the way, are subject to change. College bowl games, only 2 losses, and I'm watching in the background the Duke Temple game as I tape this, and I'm on Duke, and they're up 1 plus 4.5. So I think they're going to have a good second half. We're going to go to 7 and 2. All the rest of my bowl plays are out through. That's right, next year, 2019. Next time we talk NFL, with any lines, it's going to be next year. So happy New Year, by the way. And we're going to go ahead and ring in some winners here this weekend in college. The bowl games, 8 releases, 6-unit play on Friday, 7-unit bowl game of the year on Tuesday, January 1st, 2019. The only game I'm on Tuesday. 5 out of the last 6 years I've hit this play. Come on. Had a bad college football season, not a great NFL season either, but we're finishing strong. That's what we're supposed to do. So right here, right now, let's get it done. Let's talk about Week 17 in the NFL. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up some other screens here. Let's just go right down the rotation sheet. Dallas, New York Giants. Dallas playing for absolutely nothing. They're already locked in. They're not going to play anybody here. If they do, they're absolutely freaking stupid. You could only lay the points with the Giants. You could not take it with Dallas. Oakland, Kansas City. Difference maybe between a 1 and a 5 seed. Who knows? There's a lot of different scenarios going on in the AFC here. Kansas City would like to secure home field. I think they'll bring it. What scares the living dog piss out of anybody that wants to play around with Kansas City is Bob Sutton is the worst defensive coordinator in the league, bar frickin' none. It's going to cost Kansas City the AFC Championship, maybe a shot at the Super Bowl. They should have made a change weeks ago. They haven't. Oakland's rolling along here. Kansas City laying 13.5. Not interested in that. Nothing comes easy week 17. And total 52.5. I'd probably take a look at the over. Carolina, New Orleans. What's New Orleans going to do besides rest everybody? Again, here's a game that means absolutely nothing. Would you lay 7 with New Orleans at home against Carolina, who's just an absolute cluster screw? Total's 43.5. You know, just by that, the odds makers are not going to think that Oakland's going to do much but get out of this thing alive and injury-free. I'd probably take the points. New York Jets, New England. What's New England laying 13.5 to anybody? Let's just stop about playoff implications and home and away and seeding. What's New England doing laying 13.5 to anybody? Total's 45. Not interested in that. New England at home. They're a little dysfunctional right now. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver. Telling you, Brady's looking like he's a little bit older. Defense, okay. I can only take the Jets and the points. Philadelphia, Washington. Now here's a game where you can talk about something that has worth to it in Week 17, because Week 17 is almost like the preseason. You want to avoid it like the plague. If you got a 5-team parlay this weekend, you're going to lose. You got a 3-team 10-point teaser, you're going to lose. Okay? You got more than 2 or 3 games you're going to bet on Sunday, you're going to lose, because it's going to be insane, just like the preseason. Philadelphia's gained momentum, found an identity late in the season with Nick Foles. Here, hold my beer. I'm going to do it again. They need this win. They also need a Minnesota loss, which could possibly happen. Possibly. They're going to bring it all. Washington, no quarterback, nothing to play for. Even though they're at home, if you wanted to lay points with a team that needed to win, this probably would be the team this weekend. Total is at 42.5, probably going to go under. Detroit, Green Bay laying 7.5 to 8.5. You can still catch 7.5 at the win. I'm looking at all the lines here for you. Since this is a line report, looking at live odds here. -8, -7.5, -7.5, -8.5 at William Hill. They're getting some action. -8 at CG Technology. Station's got them at -8. And Bet Online, if you're betting online, still 7.5. If you want Green Bay, you want to get on them now. Detroit hasn't scored more than 17 points in any single game in the last 5 weeks. Think Aaron Rodgers wants to make a statement at home? Booyah! Jacksonville, Houston. Jacksonville out of nowhere comes up and beats Miami last week as my top play. Was Miami. Adam Gase is just a shitty job at head coach there last week. Water under the bridge. But they're starting Bortles in this game against Houston. Houston's already locked in. Nothing to do with it. The total is 40. I would play under because Houston's laying 6.5, 7 points. Obviously, there could be some things at stake here for Houston, but I definitely would play the under. Cleveland, Baltimore. Baltimore -6, 5, 5.5. They're all over the board. CG Technology's got them at 5. The Wind's got them at 6. This thing's all over the place. 6 across the board at William Hill. Mirage, Westgate's got them at 5.5. Bet Baltimore now. Bet Baltimore now. Okay, great half of a teaser too. Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay at home, catching 1. Absolute cluster screw. If I had a gun to my head, Tampa Bay, pick 'em. Total 52. Over under 51 at CG. 52 at CG. 51 at Stations. Pretty much want to stay away from that game because it's a coin flip. You don't know what's going to happen. Ask yourself every time you look at a game this weekend if it has an edge. If it doesn't, then don't play it. Miami, Buffalo. Buffalo laying 4. Miami's an absolute dumpster fire. Miami can't do jack crap up in Buffalo. I'd leave Buffalo there. Total 39.5, 40. No interest there. Indianapolis, Tennessee. Colts on the road, laying 3.5. Tell you, this is an interesting game here. I believe this is the night game. This is the, if I'm not mistaken. Wild card decider. Got to side with Indy. Only way I could do it. Only way I could do it. You gotta lay it. The hook's gonna be buy the hook down. Play Indy. They get over on Tennessee. That's my reaction. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh needs a win. They're going to win. I don't know if they're going to cover or not. They're going to know early on whether they're in or they're out. There's a lot up in the air. Cincinnati's a dumpster fire. If Marvin Lewis isn't one of the first coaches to go on Black Monday, then the management there must be in love with him, or he's got some naked pictures of the owner with a horse because he needs to go. They need a regime change there. Pittsburgh's grabbed the victory from the jaws of defeat last week. Tomlin's not a good coach. I don't know. I'm not laying you know me. You've been watching these. I don't lay double digits in the NFL with anybody. I'm not going to lay it with New England. I'm not going to lay it with Pittsburgh. Total 45.5. Might go over. Chicago, Minnesota. Minnesota needs it more than life itself. Chicago really doesn't. 40.5. Probably play the under. Minnesota's laying 4.5. That's not a good number to lay against that defense. I can tell you that right now. Hello. Chargers at Denver. Chargers really like to have this one. Denver's an absolute crap show right now. I could only lay it. I couldn't take it. 41.5 seems about right. Arizona, Seattle. Seattle minus 13.5 against Arizona. Again, I can't lay it. I would probably tease the Chargers down and tease them with Seattle. And finally, San Francisco and the LA Rams. I don't know if the Rams back off here. I really don't. It's right at 10, 9.5. You can get this under 10 anywhere. Right now it's 9.5 at Stations. I'd probably lay it with the Rams. One thing I'll tell you, again, about Week 17 in the NFL, those of you that have access, because you don't know how things are going to play out. You want to consider this live betting. Live betting is going to be the future of sports. And although I bet games up front, I also, since I live here in Las Vegas, I bet games during the game, halftime lines, that sort of thing. Because you can see how a team's showing up, what they're doing, this, that, and the other. To me, it's well worth the effort to watch every single game that's going on here at home with the DirecTV package of multiple TVs. And yeah, the sun's going in and out in the background. But nonetheless, those type of scenarios, live betting on a weekend like this is going to be good, especially your halftime lines. Next year, Doc Sports hopefully will have the technology for text alerts during games for a set fee. You're on a text deal, and a handicapper of your choice maybe can text out 4 or 5 leans at halftime that where you can make up some money, especially if you're losing up front early. I do it a lot out here, and I'm highly successful at it. This would be the weekend. What you see is what you're going to get. Bear that in mind for you, those of you being halftime line bettors. More of the same for the most part, especially with teams that are clearly, you can see, chucking it in or not playing well for an outgoing coach. Those sort of scenarios. And there's a lot of coaches here that pretty much their heads on the chopping block. Maybe Patricia at Detroit. Maybe the guy at Arizona. You know, could be Vance Joseph. Elway's pissed. You know. So it's one of those tricky weekends. You should utilize your noggin a little bit. Keep your volume low. I have one play that I love for 6 units, and I have a secondary play for 3 units, and then I have a 4-unit, 2-team, 6-point teaser involving teams where I think they're going to show up and I can get added value with them. You got to be smart this weekend in Week 17. Playoffs, different animal. We'll talk about that next week. Those are my initial reactions to the opening line report here in the NFL for Week 17. Get over to DocSports.com. Get yourself some winners in basketball and football. You know what? Them Bulls, easy money right now. Come on. You'll want to get on this bowl game of the year, which is a 7-unit play on Tuesday, as soon as you possibly can, because the line's going to swing. They're going to swing heavy this holiday weekend. They always do. And whatever you like in the NFL, especially if you're laying any points this weekend, bet it early, because lines are going to swing. Best of luck this Sunday.